Yes, and sometimes it's there. There, we are live. We are live. We are live. Welcome to Cup Christ Unveiling Purpose, and we're going to get started. We have a very special guest, and I love this chick. She probably doesn't know how much I love her, but I love her so intensely. Just because I've actually been able to chart her journey. I remember when she was in school driving to Fayetteville.
Yes,
Uh,
indeed.
yeah, to get this other degree, right?
Ooh,
I remember how challenging that was. I remember how I saw you do that, just probably with a style and grace, still managing
oh,
family,
thank you.
still being married, still Ron having his business. Man, like just life, right? Baby girls, mom, like just
Right. Just
all of
all of the things. All
all
of the
the
things.
things that we tend to do as women. And so I wanted to welcome you guys. Welcome to the show today. My special guest, Dr. Tionna Jenkins. And I'm going to give you a little bit of her bio, and then we're just going to get into living life on purpose. She is definitely someone I had to have on this platform, living life on purpose. She just seems to bite into it and move at a capacity and level that I think we all should be moving at, and that's purposely. She is a public health leader. She is a consultant. She is an educator. She is a businesswoman. She is an author. She comes with over 15 years of public health experience. But what I love most is she is a CEO of Played It Healthy. She doesn't just work in the public sector for someone else. She decided that she was going to take life into her own hands and create an opportunity to not only instruct, but to consult. So, welcome, Dr. Jenkins. Welcome, Tionna.
Thank you.
This Friday. And she is amazing. Like her person, she is probably one of the most authentic women I've met. She brings all the girlfriend with her, which is what I love.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
she doesn't take that. She just doesn't take that away from herself, and I love that, and I appreciate that, and I respect that. So y'all go ahead and share the video, share it on Facebook, share it on YouTube, invite everybody in, and Tionna, just say hi to our people today.
Well, hello, everybody. I am so excited to be here, and I'm so excited we were able to make this happen. Look,
Yes,
both of us live busy, busy, busy lives, not just busy, but productive. All
yes,
right.
yes,
So, doing everything with intention in its time and space. And so I knew this was going to happen, just
yes,
didn't know when, but it
yes,
happened. And so I'm so excited to be here, so excited to share my time of purpose and passion
yes.
on your platform, and just hi and what's up and all that good jazz. As Lakeisha mentioned, I'm Dr. Tionna Jenkins, but for those who know me way before doctor, it's just Tionna. And so all the things that she mentioned in public health, have done, doing currently. But, I'm just, really excited, down to earth, and excited to share with you all my journey. So, hi and welcome.
And you are down to earth, and I appreciate you for that, because sometimes, we get there and we lose a sense of community, and we
We
lose
do.
who ourselves are, and people are looking for the authentic to connect to,
Mhm.
because we need that real. We need to know the journey. We need to know the struggle. It's a little bit, it's not a question that I sent you, but I want to ask you this. How have you, like, I'm not saying flawless, you don't present a perfect image, but how have you done all this? Like, what is inside of you that has just let you conquer motherhood and conquer being a wife? Every time I see you and Ron together, it just tickles my insides, right? He was a friend of my husband's. Like, this is just, it tickles. What is your motivation? What is in you that's just made you say, you know what? I'm not gonna do one level of this. And I'm
Mhm.
sure some part of it probably lacks in some places, because that's just how life is.
Mhm.
What's inside of you that just makes you bite down and say, you know what? I can do motherhood, I can do success, I can do family. What's in your thoughts?
Yeah, yeah. So it's so funny when you said that. When you see Ron, it just tickles you, of course, because I always say he's my boyfriend. my husband, of course, but I always mess with him, and I'm like, "You're my boyfriend forever and ever, ever." But yeah, so I would say that I like your point when you said that, we do it and it's not flawless, right? So I would definitely say it's not perfect,
Yes.
managing everything. There is no balance in it at all. But what I will say is that I was shown by example around motherhood
Yes.
and around education and all of those things. So, rest in love, my mother who just recently passed this year in January.
Yeah.
And my grandmothers and grandfathers and all that good stuff. It was just shown every day what to do, how to do it, and it was not shown in a perfect bubble.
Yes.
Right. So there were, definitely flaws,
Yeah.
definitely, missteps, things like that. But I
Yeah.
will say, it was by example is what I saw. I actually remember growing up, and I was, raised, of course, in Little Rock, Arkansas. But I always tell everybody I have deep Southern roots.
Yes.
Like many people, in the summertime, I was sent to the country in the summertime, and so I
Yes.
spent like whole months, like from May now to like September, October.
Time to go back to school, right?
It's time
Yes.
to go back to school, right? In Magnolia, Arkansas, and
Oh,
in
wow.
Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and in Camden, Arkansas, and a little place called Good Hope, Arkansas, which is real little bitty tiny.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
so
Wait
it
a
was just
minute. Where is Good Hope? Where is Good Hope?
it's like an unincorporated entity place, right back down by Camden.
Wow.
There's still people that live there. I still have family that live there too. But yeah, so spent a lot of time, in between Little Rock and in the country, but I was, just shown by example by my grandmothers who, worked and, had family and lives and things like that. My grandmother in Magnolia, who's my mom's mother, my grandma Catherine, 13 plus kids, raised those. And my grandmother in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, of course, she had a smaller family. She had about 3 kids. And so, but, very, professional balance and work and life. So it was all about, seeing it. And I saw my mama going to graduate school and
Ooh,
raising a family.
yeah.
And so it's just, by example.
I think what you're giving me now helps me in something I'm very passionate about right now, which is our legacy. And
Hmm.
our legacy is to be seen and not just said, right? Our
Right.
kids are looking to see where we are. They're looking to see if we quit, where they're
Hmm.
looking to see. My sons tell me all the time, it's not what you say, it's what you do,
It's
Mom.
what you do. It's
And
what you do.
whatever you do is what's going to make a difference in my
Right.
life.
Right.
So I'm grateful for your mother who recently passed, and I got tears in my eyes because I know how I felt about my mom. I know how you felt about your mom. I
Yeah.
remember your mom would inbox me her messages when she was
Yeah.
going live, right? Just our own forerunner. So that's important. So tell me, what does it mean for you to live on purpose? What does that mean for you?
Yeah. Yeah. So it kind of goes into what we just talked about too. Um, Living on purpose, and I thought about this too because it could be a number of different things, but I think it means to me is freedom, right? Having freedom. And I'm really big on that and have been these past, 4 or so years
Yeah.
or more. It's just having the freedom to choose, right? So um, not a person or an individual or company
Yeah.
having control over your day-to-day activities, your thought processes, how you exemplify your creativity, but
Yes.
having the freedom to choose is how you live on purpose. It's also a way for God to be able to um, entail to you as well, right?
Good.
Because you're not bombarded with expectations of other people, expectations of your job, expectations of anything else. Is having the freedom to choose, right, and to walk in that path. And that's what I have grown to appreciate even more. I've kind of like always been my own person. I will say I'm very non-traditional, right? So when people think about me, they're like, oh my goodness, the first thing, if they don't know anything about me, which I love it when people don't know anything about me, because that's definitely a way to kind of figure out how people treat you, right?
Yes.
But they don't know anything about you. And they're, oh my, you have all these, you're very flashy. You have, have my big girl earrings on, my hoops, I got my nail polish on, things like, and this is like me, right? It's stepping into a boardroom, being like out and about, my family,
At
my
the Robert
friends,
Wood Foundation, wherever it is, right?
wherever it is, right? So this is me. Like I do not change, right? And so sometimes that rubs people off, wrong. Sometimes people are like, oh, okay, all right. But folks are, they will assume certain things about you.
Yes.
And so I love the ability and the freedom to not be controlled by their thoughts, by
Yeah.
their actions, by what they think. And then, of course, you come in and you go way above expectations, right? And they're like, oh, you're a doctor. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have these very, good, solid foundation businesses that are lucrative, And so, just having the freedom to not be honed in on people's expectations. I think that's, living on purpose and doing what, God has you to do.
No, and I agree with you. And I thank you for giving this here because you do give that liberally. And I love that. And I think we're all supposed to do that because if not, I call it our work voices that
Mm-hmm.
we put on when we're trying to kind of impress or whatever. And you call somebody and they're like, and I was there at one point because I thought that's what it took to be successful. And then I read a book by Simon T. Bailey called
Yep.
Releasing Brilliance. And he
Mm-hmm.
talked about his struggle in corporate America and
Yes.
asking someone, why am I not being promoted? And this guy basically telling him, because you're not your authentic self. You're being what you think we want you to be
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
successful in all actuality when God wants us to be exactly who he created to be. All
Right.
the flair, all the
All
charisma,
the flair,
all the pizzazz, all of you get to be all of that
all the
and walk
things.
your purpose, and you don't have to switch that up for anybody. So thank you for putting that in our cup today because we needed to hear this. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about your journey, right? And I
Mhm.
want to talk about Plated Healthy. I want to bring Plated Healthy in here.
Sure.
Um, because I think it's more important. I think it's so important right now, especially with the season we're in, and how you took your passion from public health and made it made it very purposeful. Can I share just the picture of
Yeah.
you before Plated? I'm gonna say before. Hold on, let me get it out of there. Before Plated Healthy and after Plated Healthy. After this is you 2014.
Right.
This is you 2021. And this is evidence because one of the things I say often is when we bite into purpose, it's going to transform us spirit, soul, and body. This
Right.
is the fine example of what it looks like of walking into purpose and it transforming and taking us here. Tell me what was happening from 2014 to 2021. And I'm gonna leave the image up there for just a
Right,
second.
right. Wow. Yeah. So, a lot, of course, right? Because life is ever moving, right? So
Yes,
nothing stops just because you're going through something.
yes,
So in that picture, 2014, if you see right beside, that's my husband. That's
yes,
Ron, right there, beside me, and we had just had our little girl. Of course, I was already a mother with our first daughter, Savannah, my Savannah.
Fanny, yeah.
Yeah, and then we had just had Alexandria, and I think I was maybe a week out from having her, a week or two out, and
Yes.
so like many people, I experienced excessive weight gain during my pregnancies. I'm also what they would term, and I don't necessarily believe that because I believe God can create and does miracles every day, but I was high risk. So we waited to have our children much later in life.
Yes.
Me and my husband, and so past the age of 30, mid 30s.
Yes. Yes.
And so had, just a lot of weight gain. I was, of course, still working full time.
Yes.
I've always, worked in public health and as a professor and as a consultant. So just had a lot of things going on. And so the transition actually happened because at that particular point in time, I was having a lot of heart issues.
Mm,
Um, and I mean, like heart pains,
yes.
like I could feel it through my chest, anxiety attacks, things like that. Because to your point earlier, working in certain environments, and lending to people's expectations, just really trying to keep up and to prove yourself and to be better than, and all of that kind of stuff, and microaggressions and racism and just gender bias, all those kind of things, right? Um,
Yes.
and then the expectations that you put on yourself. So I had, like I said, a lot of, hard things happening, anxiety issues. I was also having like, some, hair loss and hair shedding, which comes, sometimes with your, when you're pregnant and things like that. But, what bothered me was that I knew, not only was I, in a very, stressful situation, just trying to like, get it all together with
Yes.
life and work and whatnot. I also knew within my family, there is a history of heart disease, diabetes, and
Yes.
chronic diseases. Now, I always say that it's not the disease that runs in your family, it's the food that runs in your family and the environment, right?
Yes.
So what people, want to put out there and what research says is two different things, right? And so, of course, I'm not gonna make this a researchy talk,
That's okay.
right?
Bring us a little bit though. We need it, right? Because we need it. And the reason I'm saying we need it is because I'm watching what happened.
Mhm.
I'm watching what happened with you. I'm going to show the image again,
Okay.
2014 to 2021. So if it's the numbers we need, that helps to transform our lives, right?
Right,
I'd rather you give us the facts so that
right.
maybe it'll oomph something in us and change our lives.
Right, right, right. Yeah, most definitely. So I'll give give a few, but there's definitely, I will always say go to, evidence-based research articles. It's always, jazzy and fun to like, and I'm not saying you can't read like your Newsweek or go online and Google or maybe follow your favorite, influencer or whatever. I get that, but all of the items that I share and that I promote are evidence-based, from public health journals, from molecular science journals, from food system journals, things like that. So I just put it in a practical sense for folks to understand if they are not, a science-based type of, learner. So, but yeah, so going through a lot of just health issues around that. And so I decided that this is something that, I can definitely change, right? So we know that individuals in our communities and populations, depending on what we call in the public health realm, social determinants of health, depending on where a person lives, where they work, where they play, and where
Yes.
they pray, right?
Yeah,
Right?
that's good.
Live, work, play, and pray really determines the outcomes of their health, right? So genetics, again, pushing against what popular belief is out in the general sense, genetics has very little to do with your healthcare outcomes versus your social determinants.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So if we have a number, let's just say 80% of our healthcare outcomes with individuals, populations, communities, our families has to do with your environment,
yes,
right? And even the policies and the systems that regulate your environment, right? So if you live
yeah,
in neighborhoods that are, have high crime rates, you are more than likely going to have more challenges around healthcare outcomes. If you don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables within your neighborhoods, you're going to have challenges with, healthcare outcomes. If you don't have appropriate services and services that are culturally, appropriate, right?
yes,
So you're going to have some challenges there with your healthcare outcomes. If you don't have access to, if you're on prescriptions or things of that nature,
yeah,
then you're going to have, issues around those type of challenges. If you don't have readily available public transportation or transportation, period. A lot of
yes,
people may not think that that has anything to do with healthcare outcomes, but if you're not able to get back and forth to your physicians, to your holistic practitioners, because I also believe in wellness on a holistic piece too, right? So it's not always your physician. It could be a community health worker. It could be somebody like me who's a public health practitioner or a plant-based nutritionist. If you don't have public transportation to get back and forth, if you don't have internet access. So it's all about these things around your systems and your environment, and very little to do with your genetics. So genetics does play a role, but it's not the major thing. So just because your grandma, your papa had diabetes, chronic disease, things like that, that does not mean that you are going to have it, right? It's about changing our environments, and it's about even within our family structures, which again, I'm gonna push a little bit here too. If we're at family gatherings, I don't care, holidays, if we're at church events, okay, blink, blink. If we're at church events or social functions, it's also about what we are doing at those events, how we're eating, and our behavior and our environments as well. So
and so
I know that was a lot, but
we needed that because we are creatures of habits. Most of us operate in that way and we don't even recognize it, right? So I noticed like one time when I stressed or got stressed, I was getting a bag of Twizzlers, a bag of chocolate, a bag of chips, and sitting in my bed. And that's how I was dealing with my stress for a really long time, until one of my kids came and said, "You must be stressed." And I said, "Why did you say that?" And he said, "Because every time you're stressed, you do this and go sit in your bed and watch TV, and you're not even a television watching person, but this is your mechanism when you are stressed." So I'm glad you brought that up, because all of those are factors. And then if you have people who are around you who support you in those ways,
the enablers,
then you're more likely. So what when you had all these things going on, what made you switch to a plant-based diet? Was it just evidence? Was it just because I've watched, honey, when I see you on, I'm not a jealous person, but when I see them thighs, legs, and glutes, I'm like, I gotta do more work. I gotta do more work for keeping me motivated, right? Like you were actually one of the factors. My son transitioned into plant-based, and they have gone back to some meat because his body just had a hard time with football trying to do this. But for me, a plant-based diet has been better, right? I got a few more things I got to work out my system. Like, what was in you that said, "This is it, I'm getting ready to do it"?
So a couple of things, but before we go into that, I definitely want to there's a difference between eating vegan and eating whole food plant-based, and eating plant-based and eating raw. So I don't want to, again, I know we don't have a lot of time, but I do want to go into some of those definitions, because there's some confusion, around it now that everybody is like, "Oh, I'm vegan, oh, I'm plant-based," which I love, love, love. Sometimes it's a little bit of confusion just in the general public, not here, what you shared, but just in the general public. So if you are vegan, and if you say you practice a vegan lifestyle, that is primarily you focusing on the ethicalness of veganism, right? So you are not doing it, and it may have absolutely nothing to do with health, okay? You may eat all the vegan, Doritos and donuts and all that or whatever. Your focus is around animals, right? So you are, do not want the exploitation of animals. You are not wearing leather. You are, not wearing leather shoes. You don't have any leather in your house, those kind of things, right? So different people come into it for different reasons. So that, and you're definitely not eating anything with animal products in it, period, right?
At
all, right? So then if you're whole food plant-based, that is primarily where you eat 90% of your diet comes from food that grows out of the earth. Okay, you're still not eating animals, okay? But you're limited to no frying food, right? Limited to no oil.
Yes.
You're laughing.
I'm like, woo! That's why I said I'm not there yet. Because I used to say I was
No
vegan, and
fun.
then I
Right.
had to catch myself and say, you're not vegan because this is ethical, right? Once I
Right.
started really studying it, right? And I'm
Right.
not whole food plant-based yet, right? Because
Right.
I'm eating some French fries the other day. I'm just
Right.
gonna be
Right.
real,
Right.
right?
Right.
They were
So,
potatoes, not
it
free. Yeah.
right. And all these things are kind of fluid a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So and then if you're plant-based, and there's still some research that people kind of, don't agree with this, but
Yeah.
if you're plant-based or if you're eating plant forward, that means that you may eat meat limited,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Or you may drink dairy very limited.
Yes.
Okay. But there's
Yeah.
still, some disagreement on that term there. And then of course, if you're raw foods, that means that you're just doing fruits and vegetables and you're juicing in your smoothies and things like that. So I will say for myself, I will not coin myself an ethical vegan, right? So I don't, eat any meat products or dairy or anything like that. But I may still wear a leather jacket, or I may have a leather purse or something like that.
Yes.
I, however, do align with a lot of causes around veganism when it comes to sustainability and things like that.
Mhm.
So, but I would coin myself more of a whole food plant-based person. I have
Okay.
very limited fried food
Okay.
in my life. But again, I transitioned to that over time.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna get
over,
there. I'm trying.
right, over time.
Yes.
And I use very little oil, things like that. But every now and again I may want to go get me a vegan burger. So
Yes.
it's if you had to put definitions around it. But yeah, so your original question was, why did it happen,
Yeah.
or what?
Yeah. Why did this? Why was because it's now turned into purpose for you, right? It
Right.
doesn't just, it's not about your health anymore, right?
Mhm.
I've been sharing the website, playtohealthy.com. You guys can go get connected there.
Thank
But
you.
why did
Thank
it
you.
turn into this turned into purpose for you? Why was it the connector? Okay, I need to be plant-based or whole food plant-based.
Right,
Was it
right.
just the numbers and the evidence?
So I will say it was a mix of the numbers and the evidence. I would also say that as I began to, transition over time, over the 8 years, I just started feeling much better, right? Like, and I'm not like, some people, like, oh, it's a miracle. They think, every plant-based cures everything. And I am not one of those who's like, plant-based cures everything. So I'm not one of those people. But I will say for me individually, and those who I have worked with in, as clients and in cooking classes and things like that, and one-on-ones, that I just started feeling better, right? So less digestive issues. So a lot of times, of course, my household, they're always like, Mama, you always want to talk about our digestion and how many times we have in a bowel movement.
But it's important.
I was like, I am a health person. That does not bother me. So yeah, less digestive issues, right? So
Yeah.
clean my skin just cleared up. Like, so the glow is natural. So folks, sometimes they'll see me in public, they're like, oh, you look like that in real life. And I'm like, yeah, this is how I look in real
Yes.
life. No filters.
Yes.
Let's see what else. But then, I stopped having those chest pains, right?
Anxiety.
Um, Right, anxiety. Yeah, I minimize and stop that as well. So those are definitely some of the reasons and the things why. Plus, I wanted to be an example for my girls,
Yes.
right? Because I think that's extremely important for them too, to see that, and they are, we have all kind of conversations about health, faith, everything, right? In the house and business, and then just life. But I wanted them to see it as an example that, sometimes you may be different from everybody else, and that's okay. Right. Sometimes everybody's not going to understand, why you're doing something or your particular journey or your purpose, and that's okay. But as
Yeah.
long as you are standing on what you believe to know is true,
Yes.
and you are driven by what God has told you to do,
Yes.
then you're gonna be all right. And the other people, they'll come along, or either they weren't supposed to be there in the first place.
And I always say, give them the gift of goodbye. Like make
Give
it
them
like
the gift of goodbye.
make it a gift. I'm giving you, presenting this to you, and you can leave, and we ain't mad, and it's a gift, right?
We are not mad. I promise you. It's the
The
gift.
gift of goodbye. I probably could talk to you all day long. I'm gonna stay within the constraints.
Okay.
So we've seen this facet of your life
Mhm.
transition into purpose, and
Mhm.
then it opened up another business for you.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about
Bonita.
yes, food.
Yes, yes, yes.
Because that's another, when I saw you starting this, I'm like, okay, she's evolving, right? I remember
Right,
when
right.
COVID came out. I remember when I started watching your diligence to you working out. I watched this particular framework, this little period in your life, plus your
Mhm.
degrees, plus your educations, all kind of push you towards a journey, right?
Yeah,
So let's
yeah,
talk about Anita Foods. What was happening when you were like,
yeah.
okay, I'm getting ready to do this?
Okay, so Plated Healthy, of course, is our culinary experience side, is what I like to call it, right? So we do all the cooking classes, we do the consultations, we do the pop-ups, things like that. We're also on television and do media and teach people how to cook, right, on TV too, on a couple of networks. But what I would get in those cooking classes, where people were like, do you ship your food? How can I have this at home? And I'm like, well, I'm teaching you how to make it. Like, just go be great. And
Yes,
here's the recipe.
there you go. Yeah.
Here you go. And so, of course, I talk to my husband about everything. He's my business partner and my best friend. And so we were talking, and he was like, you need to start packaging your food. I was like, that's not what I want to do. That's
Yeah.
not what I want to do.
Yeah.
And the recipes, a lot of the recipes come from my grandmothers
Okay.
who taught me, again, I saw it, and my mother making everything from scratch. Now I know some people are like, oh my God, that is so old school, right? But let me tell
Okay.
you something. You make stuff from scratch, you know where your food come from, you know your ingredients, and that's how you can also address a lot of your health and wellness issues too, right? So,
Yeah.
not saying you should never go out to eat anywhere. I'm not ever saying
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
the majority of the time, you need to be either cooking your food yourself, or if you want to, have you a private chef or somebody who,
Yeah.
is cooking,
Or
from scratch.
yes. Yes.
Um, and so a lot of the recipes that I recreated and, transitioned them over to vegan or plant-based, came from the base of it came from my grandmothers and my mother. And
Yeah.
so I am, what I always say, I'm a fourth generation jammer. So I
Okay.
know how to ferment, make jams,
Come on,
uh,
Jam. Yeah.
make all kind of preserves and sauces and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm big on herbs, and herbalism. So I, put a lot of herbs and various things and spices and seasonings. And so, um, of course I prayed about it. We prayed about it. And I was like, okay, we're going to move forward in this. And I had been thinking about a way. I was like, now, how do we put this together? And so over the COVID time, right? And I hate to say COVID time, but during that
But I
time
get
when
it.
we were like resting,
Yes.
um, I worked on, and we worked on securing our food manufacturing license. And so we are a fully funded, fully insured, rather, fully insured food manufacturer here in the state of Arkansas.
That's so
And I like to say Black woman led, family owned. And so we produce in small batches for right now, right? Because we speaking big, big, big. We're gonna
yes.
be all over the world.
Yes.
Um, Small batches, granola,
Yeah.
jams, and cookies. All
Okay.
these things are healthier options.
Yes.
There's no animal-based products in them. So for those who, are vegan and plant-based and still want to consume in some of these wonderful treats, you most definitely can. And therefore any and everybody. So sometimes people be like, because they know I'm, plant-based, they'll say, oh, these are just for healthy people. I'm like, no, like you ate jams when you were little, you ate granola and cookies when you were little. Like it's for anybody. I just want to, because I have a calling on my life and what I put out there. I'm just not going to promote foods that deteriorate or destroy our people. I'm just not going to
Absolutely.
do it or
Absolutely.
promote that. So
Absolutely.
I definitely will not allow for the company to do Onita Lee Foods, where you can go to Onita, Onita,
Yeah.
Lee Foods, FOODS.com and put your
Yes.
order there.
Yes.
But But yeah, it was named after my grandmothers who taught me how to do all of these things. And their names collectively together is Onita Lee.
So I love that. We're gonna have to have you back because you're so full of wisdom, and then you're just a joy to talk to. I
Thank
love
you.
joyful people. Like joyful people make my whole entire day because right now so much is going on, and we're losing our joy and we're losing our hope.
Yep.
And we need to connect to people who choose joy because it's a choice and a decision. So I
Is.
want to ask you this: how would you encourage others to live in purpose? Like, how would you encourage any woman watching this? My son will watch this later, a little bit later, who's still been toying with the idea he wants to open up his own vegan restaurant, right? So I know, right? He wants to either go, and it may be more whole plant-based, but he's still leaning in that direction.
Come
Like
on, come on.
it's funny because we did this no meat, no dairy, no anything, not the ethical side of vegan, but the more plant-based
Mhm.
for the last 2.5 years. But he decided to put a little chicken back in his diet. But he's like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this long. I need to get outside of football season and go back to what I know. But he's like, I really want to do something plant-based. So how would you encourage somebody else to live their life on purpose? Because you're living your life on purpose.
Yeah, yeah. I will say, it's always a couple things, right? It's never one thing. But I
Yes.
definitely will say, um, it's about the discipline and consistency.
Yeah.
And I know that's like not like some, magical like secret, folks are always like, what is your secret? I was like, there is no secret. Like I have days when I'm just like, I'm tired. I don't want to do this. It's challenging. I didn't get that contract. Okay, somebody didn't call me back. Such and such is, maybe acting funny with me. I feel this kind of way.
Yep.
Or whatever, but it's consistency. Just like you get up every day and look, your show, it is consistent. Every day you're not like, yes, I'm doing it today, right, exactly. But every day you get up and let's just make it like very practical, right? You have to brush your teeth every day, right?
Yes. Yes.
Regardless if you want to, well, you should brush your teeth every day. Let me just
Yes. Yes.
regardless if you want to or if you don't, because if not, what will happen? You know that the outcome is
Decay.
decay,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That is the outcome. You have to, without even thinking, you just get up and go to the bathroom and just wherever you brush your teeth, right?
Yes.
It's dedication and consistency
Yep.
every day. I know
Yep.
this is my lifestyle. Every day, I know this is for my good. Every
Yes.
day, I know this is what God has purpose for me to do,
Yes. Yes.
regardless if people agree,
Yes.
regardless if, people follow, regardless if people I know purchase,
Woo.
regardless, like I'm doing this regardless. All right.
Yes.
Because this is what I've been told to do. And this is what I'm going to walk in is
Yes.
consistency and discipline. That is
Yes.
a secret. That is the post. That is it.
No, and that is what we needed to hear again. And it's funny because I was in my room last night and God was reminding me, and I put it in my story. I have called you to encourage. That's who you are.
That's right.
That's part of your call. So stop being in your little feelings about,
Oh,
posting.
don't we getting our feelings. We getting our feelings, don't we?
Get your butt up. Remind the people they're loved. Remind them they can do it. Produce things that are of hope, Lakeisha, and don't do anything less than that, right?
It's so funny you say that because I tell my husband all the time, and I talk about my husband a lot because
Yeah,
oh
I
my
love him
goodness,
though. You should, right? Because
we
I
talk
get
all
it.
the time, right? And I tell him, I said sometimes I'm just like, oh my goodness, I'm preaching and talking about plants and live healthy in a world of like fried chicken and chitlins. I'm just like, and so I have my moments. And he, again, to your point, show people that there's other options, show people that there's hope, show people that they can do it. And not only can they do it, they can learn how to do it on their own through cooking, through consultation, or they can purchase food products that are healthier, right?
Yeah.
Just keep going, just keep going, just keep going, right? So you're going to have days like that, right? When you're like,
Yes.
out of everything that is on social media, on TV, just everything, you're like, okay, I am out here trying to tell people to drink beet juice or
Yes.
or
When everything is supersized,
yes,
large, tea, large sweet tea from McDonald's for $1.
Right. And I'm telling people, hey, you should eat these microgreens in this kale so you can have glowing skin. And they like, Dr. Jenkins, come on, what am I finna do with this? And I'm like, let me show you how you can put this wrap together, So we all have our times, and I'm not exempt from that, but you just keep going. If you know that's your purpose, that's what God's calls you to do, and you feel it in your heart, then that's what you do, even on hard days.
Show up and do it. Give us all the ways to connect to you. I'm going to put them up on the screen. I already have them. But tell them how that they can follow you, how they can get in touch with you, because I want them to be able to, one, learn how to play to healthy. Everybody know I don't believe in you being spirit, and you need to be spirit, soul, body. Like your spirit is together, and then you need to manage all these things that have gone on in your soulish realm that have told you okay, and then that transitions into your body. When you work towards purpose, it's going to physically come out. And that's what I saw in your picture. When I saw that, I'm like, this is purpose coming alive on the outside, right?
Right.
When I began to take control over what I put in my mouth.
Oh, you better come on.
Exercise every day. It began to transition on the outside. One day I found my clothes looking,
right. And I will say this too, and I know we don't look up, we're gonna have to come back, but a lot of times people will say, oh, it's just about what you look like. Now, mind you, like we all want to look good now. I'm not saying that, right? Like we want to, be our healthiest, best selves. But it's also about what you put into your mouth. It's also about what you're putting here mentally, right? So we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but food also in your environment dictates your mental capacity and your ability to focus. 100%. And if you're trying to focus in your mental capacity to be the best person that you can be, to lead your business, to lead your family, to lead your church, right? Yes. To lead your congregation, you need to be physically fit, spiritually healthy, and that all relates back to, food and what you consume, mentally and spiritually. So I just want to put that in there too.
No, I needed to do it. Give us your handles, and we're going to get out of here before my people, but we have people that come in later, and this was worth a little bit being over, and that's what's beautiful about being able to direct your own show. So this is what's beautiful about this, and I'm definitely going to have you back, and then I'm definitely going to get in contact with you because I got some events coming up. I got something big coming up next year, and we're going to have to book you and bring you in.
Yes.
Our women especially need this so that we can transform our lives. I feel better because I eat better. I feel better because I start my day better. People run into me now as I turn 49 this year, and I'm at the
come through 49.
And they're like, you're not turning 49. And I'm like, I'm absolutely. And they're like, what's the difference? And I'm like, low stress, what I put in my mouth. And I love sweets. I just do them differently now, right? I look for healthier things. And I'm definitely a jam person. So I'm going to the website to get granola jam and cookies.
Get all the things. All the things.
Tell us how to connect to you and follow you.
Okay, so now for Plated Healthy, which is our public health and wellness culinary experience cooking education platform, you can go to plateItHealthy.com. That's www.plate, like a plate, PLATE, healthy, HEALTHY.com. And you can go on there. We have cooking classes that are on demand that you can download immediately and have access to. You can book for cooking classes for your, for your group or for your company, things like that. And then we also showcase like our pop-ups there too. So like from time to time, and now that everybody's outside, we'll be going back to our pop-ups and our cooking classes that are in the public. But right now things are virtual. But we will be transitioning to that. So go to platehealthy.com. On Facebook, it's Plated Healthy as well. And then on Instagram, it's at Dr. Tionna Jenkins, at DRTIONNA Jenkins, JENKINS. That's all of our Plated Healthy pack right there, okay? Then when you get over to the food products, which is our food manufacturing company, where food is already coming prepared to you. It's mailed to you. Everything is through e-commerce for right now, until we're able to get into the stores and some of our independent chains and things like that. It's Onita Lee Foods, www.ONITALEE Foods, FOODS.com. Onita Lee Foods. There you can get granola, you can get jams, you can get cookies, and they are amazing. Because let me tell you something, my kids eat all of it, okay? And all the kids eat it. And look, kids will tell you the truth if something don't taste good.
100%. They're going to be the
Like they'll
ones.
tell you the truth. And so yeah, that's Onita Lee Foods. You go on Instagram, it's Onita Lee Foods, ONITALEE Foods. On Instagram and on Facebook, it's Onita Lee Foods.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You have definitely filled our cup today. I
Thank
have so
you.
many things, but just watching you in action is encouraging enough. And I think especially for us, for our sisters, for us in our community to see brown skin girls and to see brown skin girls being successful. And I'm not talking about just the degrees, the package. You are what I would consider to be the package. You bring
Oh, thank you.
God into this. You're raising your family. And because sometimes, people are like, oh, you can't have family and have it. And I'm like, I don't know who told y'all that. You can have family and you can have dreams and you can live life and you can live on purpose. We have got to have you back. And now you got me churning because I need to pull you in and do some other things. I got a group of people that I need you to meet, and we just need to partner and pull some things in and bring some things
Definitely.
into I do with my
Please.
talk events. I just got some ideas, and especially with the younger generation, as everything is so quick and so fast food. Somebody just said they're looking on the site right now.
Thank you.
Yes, so you guys go order, you connect to her. You all know how I am about bringing credible people to the platform. She is a credible resource. Hey, I have one question. Do you food coach? Like, will you mentor someone through the process?
Right. Yes, I will. I will food coach through the process. And I will say this. Um, we do an assessment prior to,
Okay.
because I am somebody you need to know that this is what you want to do. This is not a
Yes.
convincing like, okay,
Yep.
plant-based is good,
Yep.
yeah, this is what you need to do because this is a lifestyle that I believe in, that I promote. And so I'm going to be just as serious with you. We're going to be food coaching through the process, looking through that refrigerator, looking through them cabinets.
I need you to come to my house. Look, I'll be trying to clean out first. Let me clean out first.
No. See, that's the thing. Don't get ready, okay? It's up
Yeah.
here. If you there, right? We're gonna be looking through those cabinets, but it's all in love. It's all in love. But yes, we go through their process and teaching you how to grocery shop and all those kind of things. If you go out to eat, what you can order from the menu or what you should order from the menu, right? And then how do you address, challenges when you may fall off, and also talking about and learning how to deal with addiction, which is what we have not talked about because food addiction is very real.
Yes. Yes.
And a lot of times people are thinking, oh, I don't have the willpower. I don't have the willpower. It's an addiction too.
Okay, so we're gonna have to definitely do a part two because I'm trying to break the sugar addiction. It has been so hard.
Oh, it's real.
I didn't know sugar was an addiction, and I could fast from it for 30 days and be like a super champ because my spirit life supersedes it. But as soon as them 30 days are off, I am running to the first cupcake. I'm running to the first brownie. And I told myself the other day, there is an addiction you have to sugar that you have not broken yet. And you got to figure out.
I mean, it's again, food addiction is a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
But it's something that is an issue, just like TV, just like any other addiction. And you have to know your triggers. Not saying that you can't have any sugar because there are alternative sugars out there. But we just know the white sugar.
Yeah. And that's all we use, or brown sugar, which has maple syrup.
Right.
And we don't read the back of our package because it was used. You guys, please thank Dr. Jenkins for coming to the platform, for visiting us today. Share this video, your friends, your family, put it everywhere, put it in your groups. I want everybody to meet her. She is so encouraging. She is definitely living life on purpose, and she has definitely filled our cup today. And we will see you guys back next Friday, where we're going to be talking about the purpose of the family. I love you guys so much. Be blessed. Love, peace, and blessing.
Bye-bye.